Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we are going to be looking at some gameplay I've had from this past weekend from a 5.0 plus tournament. These will be the games from the pool play. We had about five games inside the pool, but you'll be watching four of those games. Some of those games we won, some of those games we lost. I'm not gonna spoil which one is what. But as we watch the games together, I did edit out the dead space, and I will narrate some parts of it, especially if I want to critique myself, my doubles partner Leo, or my opponents, or just compliment anyone. Before we get going, a couple things. So we signed up to this tournament about 2 months ago, so we knew about it. We were preparing for it. Unfortunately, the last 3 weeks going to preparation for it, we only played maybe like 4 or 5 times at best in the last 3 weeks. And reason being, my partner, he's had issues with his knee. Of one of his knees, and on my end, I've just been in and out of sicknesses from my son who just turned 1 year old. So never really had a chance to kind of feel 100% for us to practice. And you might also notice, by the way, that I'm playing with the Joola Agassi 14 millimeter. Believe it or not, the games that you're watching are the very first games I've ever had with the paddle. I did not even get a chance to have a single practice game with this paddle. Now, yes, I did have a 2-hour drill session 2 days before the tournament with the paddle, so I did get a chance to hit with it, but I played absolutely 0 games with it. You might be wondering why. I'll explain why after we get through all the matches, but you also could be watching me essentially play this paddle for the first time and just kind of see how it goes. Now, as we look on the screen right now, so in this particular matchup, now the match orders are kind of going to be mixed around. It's not going to be the way it was played throughout the day, but I will tell you which match is what. This right here is the second match of the pool play. You have me close to the camera here, up at the net. So Leo is obviously off screen, and then you have Peter across from me, and then also Philip. Philip is the highest rated player on this court. He has a DUPR'd of about 5.4, I believe. His partner Peter here, really tall guy, probably like 6'2", 6'3", lefty, really good player as well. So this is a pretty exciting match. So I think with that being said, let's get going. So they're obviously serving first. And by the way, the scorecard is the very bottom, left-hand side here. Our score will always be on the left, and our opponent's scores will always be on the right side. So keep that in mind. It's never going to change based on who's serving. And let's get going. So a nice little combo there. Peter went for a few drives there, and luckily I was able to get them deep enough. So he puts that drop away, and then as we will see right here, and he attacks my second drop. So at this point, as you see me kind of stop here, have some sort of self-reflection here. I'm kind of realizing, okay, I might have to change my dropping points here because A, he's a lefty, so obviously the angles that he has available to him is different than normally when you play against a righty. And then second of all, he's a really tall dude with a very long reach. He's really getting, his paddle out there. As we look here, right, he's really reaching over. And not just that, he's just meeting it so well above the net to still be so aggressive with it. I mean, he's right up to the line, he's reaching over. So yeah, at this point in time, I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to change where I'm dropping the ball simply because of the amount of reach that he has into the kitchen here. So they get the ball back. Yep, it's really good defense by them. I mean, this is something that I myself have to work on. If we look at Peter here, right here, look at this, right? This is something that I do not do. Vast majority of players do not, even at the 5-0 level, I would have to say. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, he uses 2 hands for this defense. I will always essentially use a one-handed defense here. And the only way I can deal with this ball when it's hit that hard is if I hit it kind of off the bounce as a half volley. Out of the air, I would absolutely have very minimum control over it, but because he adds a second hand to it, that allows him to have that control. More importantly, I mean, look how low he has to get, right? For a guy that's that tall, he really has to bend down to to get down to that ball level. And he does just that. And I mean, look how good of a reset this is, you know? Look how good of a reset that is. That gets him right back into the point. The vast majority of the time, it's either that ball was not going to come back to us or that ball would be just way higher, you know? And that kind of gets them, is that their first point? Yeah, that's their first point. Kind of drills that into the bottom of the net here. Have a good little dink rally here. And get a little bit lucky there. Obviously, he had an opportunity to put it away, but missed. Get those serves back. Let's see. I should have been on top of that. Yep. So I couldn't reset that. Now again, the proper thing there. Well, I think I was just late to that ball in general. At first, I actually wanted to counter it out of the air. You can kind of see how my paddle kind of flicks backwards just a tiny bit at first because I was actually looking to attack, but then I instead opted to just reset it, and that wasn't the right idea. But the ball before that, that I should have been taking this. Or was it? It was off the return, right? I pulled it back a little too late, but yeah. What was it? This one right here. I'm obviously in a much better position to be taking this. And I should be taking that. So both of those balls were actually my fault. I would have had a much easier time resetting that than Leo would. I drilled that to the bottom of the net. That just kind of nerves. There we go. It's a good block. Luckily he missed that. Came in really aggressive. Still 1-0 them though. Okay, so let's break down this point here. For starters, notice that they're always driving their third, right? There's no question about it. They're always driving their third here, and their drives are good. They're low. We're not really able to attack off these drives. They're not at the shoulder. They're just crossing over the net, maybe by, I mean, in this case, we're talking about what? Maybe like 6 inches or so. And they're dipping lower by the time they get to us. So they're driving all their thirds. You know, they're getting decent deflections back. I mean, we're deflecting it deep enough where they can't stomp us, but still gives them a very easy fifth. This right here is mine for the taking. Now, there's a reason why I had to mention that Leo and I got very little practice of one another, because what ends up happening in the middle between him and I, is a big problem throughout all of these matches. We're constantly fighting over who has middle ball, and it does end up messing us up quite a bit. And this is just basically the start of a lot of the points where we have this issue in the middle here. So Leo goes for the dink here, which obviously just sits a little high. It's hard to control that drop of a backhand. Luckily, you know, I get a good deflection here, and we do end up winning this point. It just, as you can see here, drops right in. There was a little confusion between them. Before they called it inwards. That's why we also were kind of just waiting. But we still haven't scored a point on our serves though, so let's see. There we go. I reached in as I should have, so that was good. That was another, you know, backhand. Oops, sorry. So same deal, I think, pretty much as 2 points ago, right? That we just spoke about, where it just made more sense for me to be taking this, you know. This is just a very hard shot to have an effective dink off, as opposed to me just taking it of the forehand. Still 0-1. It's a good drop. There we go. Ooh, look at that miss, man. So I hook this drop here, and look how it actually manages to hit the top of the net. Look at this. It's the top of the net with a lot of spin, and then just bounces back on our side. I mean, I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, just tag the top of the net there. So they get the serves back. Still 1-0 them. Okay, now that time that little half volley hook that I had actually worked out. Good speed up there, caught him off guard again. That's twice actually that when Peter's trying to hold that middle while coming in, he misses that. It's a good serve by Leo. Okay, so Philip, he doesn't make a good decision as to what he wants to do with this. Now I do put a lot of slice on this backhand drop. You're gonna see a lot of this throughout the matches here. He kind of opts to just maybe hit a little like a flat type of volley here, which you're essentially conceding the kitchen or giving us easy access to the kitchen when you're doing this. Obviously, you're not trying to roll it, and the ball just falls off the paddle only because I had so much backspin on it. It's like, if someone ever slices the ball when you off your serve and it's coming at you, you normally do want to hit it back with a lot of spin and you utilize that slice. It's much more effective than just trying to do a flat drop off someone's slice because the ball can come off your paddle, which is kind of what happened there. Nice. It's a good drive there by Leo. So we're up 2-1 right now. He does miss that serve, but that's okay because he's going for bigger serves. Trying to find a way in here. Okay, we neutralize the point. And they get it. Okay, so another learning experience there. So we neutralized the point there. We run into the issue here once again with the middle ball, right? Leo reaches in with his backhand dink here, goes out wide of it, but as you can see, there's no slice, there's no spin on it, it's fairly high, it's just kind of sitting there. At this point in time, I mean, there's so much for me to have to try to cover here, right? So the biggest risks for me is down the line, into my body, or just through the middle. Philip has a lot of options, especially on a ball that's not really pushing him back. Now Philip has look at how. So as I'm kind of going through the slow motion here, I'm just gonna hold it down. You could see how suddenly his wrist, even slow motion, really accelerates through. Watch, bam! You see that? That's actually how he speeds up the ball. He doesn't use his forearm or his arm, or even his hips, to speed up the ball. Now the reason why I point that out is, if you're using your arm, your hips, to speed up the ball, those are bigger parts of your body, and that's easier to notice for your opponent when all of a sudden your arm is moving quicker than it was a millisecond ago. It's much more difficult to pick up your wrist suddenly moving at a much quicker rate than it is a larger piece of your body. So it's concealed much better. I mean, you could see how concealed it is, because if you look at my footwork here, as the shot's going off, I mean, look at me, I'm actually moving to the left still. And on top of that, my paddle is actually trying to go to the left, even though the ball is completely to the right. I mean, I still wasn't able to read the ball. And that's strictly because if you look, it was essentially his wrist that just sped up that ball, right? Obviously, there's a little bit of forearm there, but it's predominantly the wrist that he used to speed it up, and it was just very, very hard to read that. Me personally, when I speed it up, I do use my arm. So that's something I can look to utilize and kind of add to the mix. Okay. I mean, we're still, what is it? So, yeah, we're up 2-1 right now. They have second serve, though. It's a good block. Good two-hander. Nice little flick there by Leo. Okay, so we get the ball back. You might also notice that we are stacking right now when we are serving. Okay, still in it. And again, that middle dink, right? It's that middle dink. I mean, we were doing very well at that point, and just what was it? The one right before this, yeah. I mean, this is probably the third or the fourth. You know, again, Leo and I just simply have to work on this. And as I point this out, I'm not pointing this out to criticize Leo on this, because here's the thing: when Leo and I play, normally speaking with the players that we have around ourselves, very often we have to be covering middle with our backhand as well, because it's still more times than not the better shot than our teammate grabbing it with their forehand. So we're just so trained to still be covering it, no matter who's on our left side. And that's why I said we just didn't have enough practice of one another leading up to this tournament to really retrain that instinct to be grabbing that, especially when you have a lefty that can really cover that middle dink. Nice. Okay, that's good. So the strategy that's working right now is, if the ball is coming to me, I'm pretty much just dropping the ball, right? If it comes to Leo, Leo's driving the ball, and then I'm essentially dropping the fifth, or if the return comes to me, I'm dropping the third, and Leo's creeping in already. And then at the net, I'm essentially just holding a dink rally, moving the ball around, and Leo's the one that speeds it up. So that's been our strategy so far, and we're up 3-1. We're up 3-1 in doing so. Another good rally here. I mean, that was just a good point, but you could even see that even in this point here, we still managed to kind of confuse ourselves. Where is it? Is it right here? So this could have gone either way, because there's kind of a reflex volley there. But right here, wait, no, not that one. Right, nope, we're still good. We're still good. Hold it. Okay, that's fine. Listen, I'm okay with Leo taking that, because it's coming across, and he could attack it with a flick, which he does pretty good job. Jams him up, I think right here, right? That's where we get in each other's way, and that kind of, you know, even though that dink was still good, so I can't say that put us in a disadvantaged position, because we're still kind of doing fine there. I think, you know, Peter maybe got a little lucky of how well he placed that follow-up dink there. But okay, so now we're basically playing it straight up. So now it's 2-3 they're serving. Great Ernie there by Leo. Yeah. 3-3. Yeah. So we're struggling. So, you know, so I felt that, you know, we should have been unwinding the stack at this point, because I mean, we went from really holding them well at 3-1 to now we're down, right? 4-3, and a lot of it is because we're kind of taking away from what each of us does best. So for me, handling the left hand side and kind of just like staying within those dink rallies, and then Leo speeding things up with his forehand, and either goes two ways: either he speeds up with the forehand, gets in a much better position and puts the ball away, or they counter it, but that counter comes to me and I do a good job in fighting off that counter, maybe resetting the ball back. But once we're kind of flipped, all of a sudden it's a situation where now Leo can't really speed the ball up on the left-hand side, because he's dealing with it coming to his backhand. And on the right-hand side, I'm being fairly defensive, and I'm not looking for opportunities to kind of speed it up. I'm just trying to place good dink, put the dinks in a good spot. So it's 3-4 now. 3-4 that we're losing. Get a little nice. So that was a good attack by us. I think we got a little lucky there, because one of those dinks was a dead dink. Okay, so we're stacked up again though. So we got our serves back. Staying in the rally here. But yeah, I mean, we go right back into that issue, right? Of just who's covering that middle. That is just by far our kryptonite. You know, this dink right there in the middle just continues to be our kryptonite there. As you can see, kind of Peter unwind on that. It's a good drop. Nice, good finish by Leo there. 4-4. Good drive. Another drive there. Gets us another point. We're up 5-4 now. Unfortunately, I just wasn't able to soften that up in the right spots. And now we get into an issue here where, again, we're playing it straight up since we have an odd score now. We get up here. Luckily we survived that one. Second server for them. They get a free point there, essentially off the net cord. 5-5. Good drive, another drive to Leo's. We're fighting for it, we're fighting for it. And I mean, Philip lands that speed up, and we can look at that speed up again. Where is it? Right here. It's the same deal. Look at that. Boom. I'm going through slow motion here. I'm just holding it down, holding it down, holding it down. But bam, you can see how he's just using. So in this case, he used more of his forearm, but boom, right? Just the forearm and the wrist. That's all he's using for that speed up. He's not using any part of it. He's not using the rest of his body for it. And it's just so hidden that I'm just not able to react to it. And again, I'm someone that does very well, very good in firefights. You know, I could handle a lot of counters coming towards me, but man, I am just reacting so late to these shots. Look at this. Not even close, you know? I mean, sure, okay, I actually waved. I swung in time, but the ball was like 3 inches away from me. So my feet were not where they were supposed to be. So now it's 6-5 them on the switch here. We're still unstacked. And so that was rough for us. So what ends up happening here is I do call for the switch, for us to switch over. I feel like for me it was pretty clear that that was simply the best formation for us, to have Leo be aggressive on the right, while having me kind of grind and get us to the net and hold those dinks on the left. So I signaled to him. I thought I heard him say something, which I assumed was the fact that he saw my sign, but apparently he told me afterwards that he said no. So he actually wanted to play it straight up. I had no clue. I just thought he said yes. So that's why you kind of see me. So this shot, right, I'm kind of holding the middle for a split second before I completely go over. Here I hesitate because obviously in the back of my head I thought that's when Leo should be coming around finally, and obviously it's a much easier shot for someone running in to be taking this as opposed to me going back in front of him. So I end up just reacting late to this shot. I think as I take it, I suddenly look back, because that's when I was confused as to, like, you know, where's Leo? And only then do I see he's actually behind me here and not behind me there. And that ball was just like a put away, just sitting there. So that's 7-5 for Philip and Peter here, and that was a tough one to give up, you know, on just miscommunication between the two of us. So 5-7, playing this point straight up here. 8-5 them. Good serve. Oh yeah, just slightly missed. 5. Okay, here we signal the switch. Okay, at least we're in the rally now. But then we run right back into that same issue, that middle again, with who's handling the middle dink. Where is it? Yeah, right there, right? Look at this. You know, we're just banging paddles there, and I just get my ass ripped into again. Go for a switch here. Yeah, just a good drop. So we end up losing that match 11-5. It was a good match. Like, we had a lot of great rallies there. The biggest thing that stuck out was simply that middle and how many times we clashed in that middle. I didn't keep count, but it was probably in that 5, 6, 7 times mark, right? The funny thing is, when I was looking at the footage, I think the first half before we swapped sides, it was like 12 or 13 minutes long for us to lose 6-5, and then they end up getting the next 5 points within like 2 minutes and a half. Like, that was the difference, where it's like the match was like 15 minutes long, but 13 of those minutes was in the first half, and then the second half it was just 2 minutes long, maybe 3 minutes long. So we just fell apart mentally at that point. I really think that miscommunication on the switch just kind of like killed the mood in that moment.